Welcome to the Mining and Metallurgical Society of America webinar series. MMSA is an association of mineral resource professionals whose members represent all facets of the mining and metallurgical interests, both domestic and internationally. If you are interested in becoming an MMSA member, please check out our website at mmsa.net for information on the application process. MMSA has always been a cohesive group of senior people from the mineral industry. The society is dedicated to increasing public awareness and understanding about mining and why mined materials are essential to modern society and human well-being. The society concerns itself with fundamental principles and with problems facing the industry in such areas as legislation, economics and education, as well as environmental concerns, labor relations, and health and safety. Representatives of the Society from time to time testify before legislative bodies and provide advice to federal agencies. My name is Kristen Guerin-Davey, MMSA member and social media and webinar director. I'll be introducing today's webinar. Our title for today is Women's Mining Coalition 2025 Washington, D.C. Fly-In Recap by Lyndsey Wright, WMC Executive Director. Questions can be entered into the chat. The speaker will answer the questions after the presentation is complete. Please turn off your cameras unless you are asking a question. And I'll hand it over to Curtis.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Lyndsey. She's a seasoned accounting and finance professional with direct experience in mining industry finance, including oversight of financial reporting and treasury functions. She has recently served as finance manager for Ioneer Limited, which is developing the Rhyolite Ridge Lithium-Boron project in southern Nevada. While serving as the executive director of the Women's Mining Coalition, Lyndsey is an active member of SME, the American Exploration and Mining Association, AEMA, the Nevada Mining Association, and Women in Mining USA. Lyndsey, I give you the floor. We're looking forward to your address.
Thanks, Curtis. Thanks, Kristen. I really appreciate having the opportunity to be here today, and really excited to talk about the Washington, D.C. fly-in that we did back at the beginning of May. It was a fantastic trip. We really had a great time, and today I'll spend some time going through what made up the week and the events we had and the issues we talked about and collaborations we had with MMSA and other associations. And so thank you for letting me be here today. We'll get started. There we go. Okay. Here's the presentation overview. We'll do some introductions of both the WMC and then some of our executive leadership team who there are quite a few on the call today. Also, we will talk about how the WMC affects change. That is, mainly through the fly-in and all of our advocacy work that we do grassroots, but go over that in detail. And we will talk about the 2025 fly-in topics and the issues that we discussed on the Hill. And then really exciting, the fly-in events that happened throughout the week. There's a lot of pictures on those slides, so prepare yourself, but we'll still get a lot of description of how the week went. So, and then we do have a fly-in video that we have posted on YouTube, but I'd like to present it here at the very end of the PowerPoint, and it's about 7 minutes, so I'll watch my time and we'll hopefully get to that. I also wanted to sort of point out this picture that is right here. I was laughing at it before I did the presentation because my hair is basically going all directions. This was about day 4 of the fly-in. Lots of sleepless nights, lots of planning, but I did want to mention both Haley and Kenna, who are my president and secretary, respectively, and they were huge supporters of me during this fly-in, getting things done, and just want to give them a little bit of a shout out. And it's just a great picture on the Capitol steps. So. Anything else? Oh, sorry about that. Okay. For those who may not be familiar with WMC, while I realize there probably are mainly everyone we may have some people that are here to just learn about WMC. We are the Women's Mining Coalition, and our mission is to advocate for today's modern domestic mining industry essential to our nation. Our history 3 female geologists formed WMC in 1993 to give women who work in mining opportunities to meet with members of Congress to explain the importance of mining. I wanted to mention too that I see Debbie Strusacker is on the call. I know Ruth Caraher couldn't be here today. And then Kathy Benedetto, our 3 founders who still hit the pavement with us in DC, and we're so lucky to have their support and their guidance and participation in the fly-in. Big shout out to Debbie, who always constantly is there to talk about the issues and help put papers together. I see her on the call. So our members, since 1993, hundreds, and I almost want to say maybe even thousands at this point, or over 1,000, of women have participated in our annual Washington, D.C. fly-in in state-based meetings with members of Congress and federal agencies. We talk about the largest fly-in that's ever happened. While this one was a great fly-in, we had almost 50 people there. We have had fly-ins with 90 people, correct me if I'm wrong, 90 plus. And so we've definitely had many people go to DC with us, and I would assume we're over 1,000 at this point, which is very, very proud to say that. Okay. On the next slide, I'd like to introduce our WMC leadership team. Our past president, Emily Hendrickson, Haley Ramber, our current president, our vice president, Katie Heaslett, secretary, Kenna O'Neill, and our treasurer, Lisa Ross. This EC team is super supportive. I do a lot of work on my own, but they are tied into this fly-in, and they give me ideas and guidance, and I could not have been successful this year without them. And so I really appreciate my executive committee, and then my board of directors, who we meet throughout the year, and the same, very educated and women who know a lot about this industry and are here to help guide sort of the younger generation, if you will, and those of us who may not have that much mining experience. I've only got about 7 years. I really do look to this board of directors for their guidance and their thought leadership. So let's see. Okay. Does anyone, I wanted to mention too that as I go throughout this presentation, we have just some main sections. And once I get through the section, I can stop and see if there's any questions, if there's any comments, if anyone wants to add anything, please. I want this to be very back and forth or informal. Obviously be mindful of time, but if you have any questions, please feel free to stop me throughout the presentation so we can have a dialogue. Would love to do that.
Lyndsey, I'm gonna jump in for just a second and say,
hey, Debbie.
I think 3 of WMC's board members, if I've counted right, are also MMSA members.
Ah, perfect. Yeah, I had a feeling most people would recognize a lot of these names, especially yours, Debbie. So I didn't want to do too many introductions of you're kind of a star in our world, right? But no, I'll get to a point in the presentation too. I'd like to talk about the MMSA and WMC relationship because we just really truly appreciate it. And so as we get there, we'll cover that. How the WMC affects change on Capitol Hill. So the power of advocacy. Since 1993, the WMC has brought together diverse groups of women from across not only the industry, but the country to share our stories and experiences to educate lawmakers on the critical importance of mining to our country. Our annual Washington, D.C. fly-ins for the past 32 years have provided real miners the opportunity to share their stories with decision makers. We are not who lawmakers are used to seeing when they think mining. Something our founder, Debbie Strusacker, one of our founders, has said that I really like is that we create cognitive dissonance. We're able to present a different face for the industry. And because of how many people attend fly-in, we have the ability to have meetings that other advocacy groups or other associations may not have maybe the capacity or the time. They may be more strategic. We can cover a lot of ground during these fly-ins because we have so many volunteers and so many members who join us. And we're able to connect with members of Congress and their staff on issues related to mining that they may not have considered previously. We can give them a more grassroots, boots on the ground idea of what's happening. Or some who just don't have exposure since they don't work on a committee that is relevant to mining. In reality, all members vote on legislation, so it's good for us to meet with as many people as possible. Also, too, when you go to DC, there, most of the staff members that we meet with, I'd have to say, or at least half of them are younger than the organization. The WMC has been around, and so, we have members who are younger than the organization, and so being able to educate and go back every single year is really important. Okay. And how do we do this? So deploying diverse perspectives. We have, on the next slide, I'll go into more detail about who attends the fly-in with us and their backgrounds, and we'll get onto that. We'll get onto that one. We coordinate with affiliate organizations across the hard rock and coal sectors. You'll see later in the presentation we cover issues. We work with organizations such as MMSA, such as SME and AEMA very closely to see what is happening and what's going on in the industry prior to the fly-in, and we collaborate on ideas and recommendations to create one-pagers, and the information that we then give to members and staffers in Congress it all comes from one mining voice, essentially. And so we really do work closely with the other associations. Balancing quality and quantity of meetings. Historically, I don't know how many meetings in the past, the max number of meetings we've had. Obviously, there's over 500 offices that we don't get to all of them. But sometimes some of those are very strategic meetings that we like to have. We'll look at a certain Congress member, whether they're a ranking member or a chair of a committee, and be specific with how we engage with them. This year, we had the opportunity to have Senate Energy and Natural Resources come to us, sit in a room with the entire group. We'll see that later in the presentation as well, but being very intentional and making sure we're having quality conversations is really important. Follow-up. So we do a lot of follow-up after the fly-in. We take notes, and I actually have, I brought some with me. These are, we take notes during meetings, every one of them, to make sure that we're staying on top of the questions and the comments that some of these offices have. And then throughout the week of the fly-in, I'm reading all of these notes to then be able to strategize, hey, maybe you're going to this meeting tomorrow. This is an idea that came up in this meeting. Let's have these conversations and maybe key in on this one topic. And so these notes and the follow-up with the offices is very important. As a nonpartisan organization, it is a critical element of the WMC to find common ground and be willing to simply agree to disagree. There's obviously, we sometimes have legislation that industry might not fully support, but because of how, the government works with, the very partisan nature of what is happening in DC right now, we have to be willing to make compromises in order to get things done. And I think that, progress is progress. And so we want to be a part of making sure that progress, hopefully goes in the mining industry's direction, but definitely take the nonpartisan approach and just really there to have really solid conversations to better the industry. Consistency in our messaging, actions, and continuing to be a viable resource for our industry partners as well as lawmakers to look to. That I think just kind of speaks for itself, but consistency in our messaging. We also stay consistent with how the rest of the industry is talking, especially with our other associations, really working closely with them, like I had mentioned earlier. And the most important part of our trip are the people who join us, our members. This year we had 46 women. I finally got the total number out of my notes and my data. We had 46 women this year join us. They represent 21 states from across the U.S., which includes Alaska. Last year, one thing that's really great is last year we had 9 states represented at our fly-in last year. I think we have really got, the mining industry is people are taking notice, and I think people are really wanting to get involved, which is great, and advocate for our industry. And we noticed that this year. And so while most people come from the Western states, we had representation from DC, Florida, the Eastern states, Alaska. And so really exciting to have everybody there. We participated in an estimated 140 meetings, agency and congressional, with legislators. So it depends on the day how many you would meet with, or what groups you were put in, but plenty of meetings to go around. It was a great week. So the type of companies that are represented, we have major mining companies, developers, hard rock, coal, suppliers, consultants, and we had 3 student representatives this year from University of Nevada, Reno, and from Colorado School of Mines. Really excited that we had some students join us again this year. Some of the most powerful voices are those that we take with us are those of consultants and contractors and vendors, which they demonstrate the widespread opportunities that mining provides. And so we're really excited that we can bring together not just specialists and operators in hard rock or coal, but everyone who makes up the mining industry, with expertise in permitting, law, engineering, geology and metallurgy, stakeholder and tribal engagement, government affairs, communications, ESG, and corporate leadership. So a very diverse group of participants this year, different backgrounds, and we just had a great group of women. It was a lot of fun, and here are some fun pictures that we have for the presentation. Next slide. Preparing for a fly-in. So preparing for a fly-in, there's a lot of work that goes into the fly-in. I probably start preparing, well, I start preparing for the fly-in the day after the prior year's ends. My thoughts, I'm already ready for the next year when we're in the current year's fly-in, because I'm thinking about even better ideas or more ideas. But to prepare for a fly-in, especially for our members, we do training webinars, which happen about a month or 2 before. We do introductions. We really want to prepare our participants as much as possible before they get to DC. Some people are brand new and they have never been, right? And so it can be a bit daunting, and we really want to try and help them, even if it's just as simple as make sure you wear the right tennis shoes, right? But try and really give them an idea of what's going to happen when they're in DC. And then we work on, we do training on the fly-in issues and the fly-in papers, to do education as well. We empower the WMC committees and subject matter experts to draft issue papers. Throughout the year, for those of you who might be members of WMC, you'll know that we have monthly committee meetings. These committee meetings are meant to keep us up to date between last year's fly-in and this year's fly-in. And so we really empower the committees to provide as much information and get people engaged so that they're well prepared for the next fly-in and really immersed in the conversations. We coordinate with affiliate organizations on these issues, like I mentioned, MMSA, SME, AEMA, and some of the state associations as well we work closely with. And so that has been a great resource for us, and I say internally in the mining industry, is really looking towards those affiliate organizations. A dedicated scheduler, me, I spend a lot of time, which a lot of people don't see, contacting all of the offices and really putting together a master schedule for every participant throughout the week, and very detailed operation. I won't go into it, but we do offer that to our participants if they come to DC. We basically will put them, they come to DC, we give them an agenda, and that's all they have to know. So we also have an orientation on the first day of fly-in. This is a good way for anyone who's new to fly-in to sort of ease into it. You're not just dropped into an office meeting first thing Monday morning, but it's an opportunity for us to meet with, this year we had the opportunity to meet with America's Power and American Coal Council, Mark Compton from AEMA, Katie Sweeney from NMA. Everyone came to speak about what's going on in DC, and it really helps to prepare our participants for what they can expect, and also a good networking opportunity to just meet everybody who's in DC, because like I said, everyone comes from across the country. We also create issue papers. So we have our fly-in papers that you can find all of these papers on our website. I don't know if this presentation is going to be shared, but that is a link to it. Otherwise, you can find it on our website. We have all of our papers. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And yeah, I'm going to stop here. After we've gotten through this first section, hopefully I'm not talking too slow. I might slow down a little bit. But does anyone have any questions or comments from the last section? Anything they are curious about? Okay. So in this section, we'll talk about the topics that were discussed on the Hill, and put together this first slide. One, I didn't do this on the others, but I wanted to show you sort of these one-pagers that we work to put together. There's a lot of people who spend a lot of time collaborating and putting this information together. I will give a huge shout out to Debbie Strusacker, who is, does a big pull in all of this, and working, we got to work with SME and AEMA on this paper. This is posted online. This is regarding the U.S. must streamline permitting to achieve energy and minerals dominance. Despite the widespread acknowledgement that minerals are indispensable to the nation's energy transition goals, the administration is pursuing policies that impede mining and put important critical minerals deposits off limits to mining. Permitting delays are adversely affecting everything, including proposed mining, infrastructure, manufacturing, and renewable and conventional energy projects. So within this paper, you will see us educate about issues and not necessarily issues, but educate about the process. Obviously here with the permitting delays, each step of the exploration and mining life cycle to help members and staffers understand how it happens. We educate them, and then we make recommendations and solutions that we have come up with, which you'll see in the rest of the paper, that to help them either create legislation or create regulation that would help solve these problems. The top on the right side, you'll see providing suggestions where we help in exploration. And then there's more ideas for mine permitting. So it's a lot of information. If you have questions, I won't go into a lot of detail about it, but we do have this information online, and you can contact any of the people at the bottom. Or I also want to point out SME's permitting white paper. There's a QR code for it as well. A lot of that, we work closely with SME too, because they have such a great technical information. And so I would highlight their paper as well. Another topic that we discussed, this is one of the titles of one of our one-pagers, the U.S. mining law, the foundation of minerals dominance for national and economic security. So as we mentioned, the Women's Mining Coalition was founded in 1993. The main, and Debbie, please step in if I say this wrong, but the main reason was to fend off attempts to enact industry crippling changes to the mining law. 32 years later, and I think we said it last year, 31 years later, we are continuing to fight that fight. Now, I will say, under this new administration, we have recognized that there is a huge support, and the tides seem to be shifting more. And that's pretty exciting as well. So not as big of a fight, if you will. But the foundation of minerals dominance for national and economic security. This gives citizens what I want to do. Let me take a step back. I apologize. What this paper, one pager, will do, and it's online, it gives basically an outline of the mining law of 1872. I think it's for me, I recognize that people just say the 1872 mining law, it's 150 years old. I don't think people really understand what that entails. And so for us, we want to educate people on what exactly it is. And so here are, bullet points. It gives citizens a self-executing statutory right to explore minerals and develop mines on Western public lands that are open for mineral activities under this law. This bullet 1, mineral activities conducted under this law must comply with federal environmental protection laws and regulations and are fully bonded to ensure reclamation. It creates possessory and surface use rights under Section 22 and fee title property rights under Section 29, 30, 35, and 37. There is additional information on the one-pager online on Section 22 if you'd like to read more about that. Also, the 1872 mining law authorizes using mining claims or mill sites for reasonably incident mining uses on lands that are mineral in character, non-mineral, or where the mineral character is unknown. Apologize. There are only 2 circumstances in which the U.S. Bureau of Land Management must consider mine claim validity. 1, to determine if a claimant has a property right against the federal government on lands being withdrawn from mineral entry, and to verify whether the lands included in the few remaining patent applications qualify for a patent. I apologize. I got off of my thing. To verify whether the lands included in the few remaining patent applications qualify for a patent. Like I mentioned, everyone talks about the mining law of 1872, but this topic in particular, I really found helpful because it does go into more detail to really educate those members of Congress on the actual 1872 mining law, giving them a better understanding, because I could imagine that most probably don't really know much about it if I had to guess, but that's what we're here for, is to educate them. So does anyone have any questions on these last 2 slides? I'll get to the before I get into the NIOSH, and I'm going to actually ask Andrea Brickey if anyone has any questions. Please feel free to raise your hand or step in. But is Andrea on at this point? Is she?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Hey, Andrea. So before I get into this slide, I wanted to I asked Andrea if she'd be willing to participate in this, just so we could give sort of a background of what happened while we were in DC that I don't think a lot of people would have known. So prior to our trip, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks, the NIOSH mining program was eliminated. And when that happened, everyone, AEMA, MMSA, SME, all got together and said, well, we need to make this a focus of fly-in. And so we put together one-pagers and information. And it was a key topic that we discussed in a lot of offices. And people like Senator Capita, who's in this picture, Senator Murray from Washington, they had a lot of interest in talking about this. And it was really nice because while I was in DC, while I don't do a lot of the meetings, I do talk to people. I can see Julie Lucas, who's in the picture. She was one of our leaders. I'm talking to Julie Lucas about how her meeting was and then relaying that information to Andrea in real time. It was kind of really exciting because we were doing all this cross-country collaboration really in an effort to make sure that people knew what was going on. And so I wanted to give Andrea a second to give an update on anything that she has seen with this, with the efforts that we've been all kind of pushing, and if she had any any other comments.
Sure. Thanks, Lyndsey. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate what Women's Mining Coalition did to help in this regard and to get the word out there, and in a very quick order to add some things to your packets right before you headed out. We really appreciate that. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Andrea Brickey. I'm a professor at South Dakota School of Mines. I'm also the president of MMSA right now. And I also served on the Federal Advisory Board for NIOSH mining program, which is the Mine Safety and Health Research Advisory Committee. And so as part of that advisory committee, we were tasked with providing the Secretary of HHS, the head of the CDC, and the head of NIOSH with information regarding research in the area of mining. And so and served on that committee for 5 years. Now, which unfortunately is kind of over at the point. Now, here's what's going on currently. We have made some progress with trying to reestablish the NIOSH mining program. Senator Rounds was able to directly ask Secretary Kennedy about mining and mine safety, and he expressed that yes, some of the soft coal folks have been brought back, but no one related to hard rock or especially Western mining, and that they were going to work on that. Now, we still haven't seen that just yet. We are working with lots of senators right now. There is a group called the Friends of MSHRAC, which was that advisory committee. And some of you may have gotten an email today. We have a newsletter. If you haven't, let me know and I will forward you on that. But right now we're in crunch time. So what's happened? The mining program is fully funded in the current budget. If we look at the budget, the mining program is funded at $66.5 million, which is the same funding it received last year. However, all of the personnel at the Pittsburgh and the Spokane offices are still under a RIF, meaning reduction in force. So we're not quite sure what, how is that program going to be funded? If the program is funded according to the current budget, who's going to do all that work? We're trying to, now right now, everybody is technically, they were supposed to be riffed on June 2nd. There's currently a Supreme Court case that's kind of put that on hold right now, but we do expect that to be decided in the very near term. And so we're trying to work as hard as we can, as fast as we can to get the word out. Now, one of the biggest challenges that we found, and I'm sure Lyndsey might be able to kind of, or Deborah or Debbie, about what they heard, but a lot of people, there's a lot of misconception in DC that NIOSH is actually a regulatory agency, that they were somehow responsible for putting out rules and regulations. NIOSH does none of that. They have nothing to do with regulation. All they do is help develop processes, procedures. They help to develop tools that we use, respirators, and making sure we have permissible equipment that can be used underground coal. They are the ones who are testing that, developing new technology. They fund a lot of our mining schools. This was our primary source of government funding to support research at our very few mining schools that we have in the United States. And so this is going to have an impact on those mining schools as well, with the lack, and many of us got all of our current grants fully, canceled. We had a grant for underground mine safety and it was canceled. We had it for 6 months and then it was a 5-year contract. But so we're trying to do what we can to educate. If I could ask anybody here, if they're would like to get involved, just email your senators, write them, especially in mining states or with those that benefit from, which we all do, the mining industry benefits. We actually calculated the expense of this. It's about $200 a miner. So it's a pair of safety boots is what the federal government invests in mine safety research. So I think that this is not wasteful. It is very productive to the mining industry, and we need to just make sure that that gets communicated well. And I think WMC did a great job of communicating that. We've had a lot more interest in senators and representatives, and I think that directly comes from meeting with you in person and hearing about those conversations directly. So thank you so much to all of the women who did that, and we appreciate it greatly.
Yeah, I will say it's kind of the fun part of it. I don't know if I had a little bit of a lobbying hat I felt like put on for a second. I was just rushing around talking to Andrea. But it was really, we're happy to support. And again, that's the one pager that we have put together is more educational as opposed to, I don't know that, I apologize, I can't remember off the top of my head if it has any recommendations, but it definitely has a lot of educational bullet points that you can reference and share with colleagues or share with your legislators as well. So great point to bring that up, Andrea.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for joining. Okay. On to the next. Okay. And so also we also covered coal and grid reliability while we were in DC. While we do have a lot of participants, and obviously a lot of the sector is hard rock focused, we do also cover coal and while we're in DC, and one of our one pagers, Americans need secure, affordable, and reliable electricity. What's really interesting is that I think that we were talking about this exact same thing last year. And so probably not a lot of the information and the data points have changed. The one thing that has changed is obviously the administration. On April 8th, 2025, you'll see the note President Trump signed 4 executive orders. And I want to say he's probably since then signed more. This presentation obviously is based on our fly-in, but there has been a lot of movement and a lot of support in the coal sector. But Trump signed 4 executive orders aimed at strengthening the American coal industry to enhance energy security, grid reliability, and economic growth. And those are the four EOs. They also had a huge signing ceremony at the White House. A lot of our affiliate organizations, American Coal Council, America's Power, they were all in attendance. West Virginia Coal Association, the America's Coal Association, which is a coalition that WMC participates in and supports. And so really exciting to see the progress being made to support the coal sector. And so there's multiple one pagers. I didn't put all of that information on this tab, but there's multiple one pagers. If you're not someone who works in the coal sector, please, it's a lot of good and solid information. Okay, and I think that we're at the last slide of the issues that we covered. Does anyone have any questions or comments before we get to the last section? Okay. Okay. Fly-in events while in DC. So while we're in DC, obviously the main goal is for us to be meeting with offices and agencies to discuss these mining issues that we've just previously covered. But while we're there, we this year spent a little bit more time creating networking and opportunities for our participants in DC and some events. And I'm kind of going to go through each day and all the events and just kind of show everybody sort of the fun side. While being in congressional offices all day is fun, we get to kind of let loose a little bit and enjoy our time together. And so you'll see it through all the pictures that are on here. Not a lot of words, just pictures. But so on Monday of the fly-in, we had our fly-in orientation. Throughout the day, it's a full day being at the National Mining Association office. They are supporters of us. We host our orientation at their offices right across from the Capitol, as you can see in the background of one of those pictures, very close. And we have different sessions talking to leaders about specific things affecting the mining industry. You'll see Mark Compton was there, Michelle Bloodworth from America's Power, Emily Arthen from American Coal Council. We also had our sponsors, Integra Resources, present on the Delamar project in Idaho. Emily Hendrickson is our past president. Their project is, I believe, either in or going into permitting. I haven't checked the status of that. I apologize. But they were able to come and present their project to really help get support from members and advocates in the industry. And then we also have a presentation by Cherie Leedon on mineral exploration. And she is super passionate about that. She is an exploration geologist, and she's actually presenting at our advocacy and development committee meeting next week. This was such a hit of a presentation that we're offering it to our broader membership as well. And so it was just a great day, collaborating and learning from and with each other, and great discussion time spent together before we dispersed onto the hill for the week. Also that night, collaborations with the other trade associations are really important, as I mentioned a couple of times. AEMA, we are lucky to have Kenna O'Neill, who is she sits on the board and is an executive committee member as the secretary. She is the External Affairs and Membership Manager for AEMA. Apologies, Kenna, if I got that wrong. And so we're so lucky to have that relationship, and we can really work so closely together. And they planned an IM mining event and reception on the hill that we got to go to. I was very excited because I didn't have to plan it, which is kind of selfish, but I just got to go enjoy it, and which was really exciting. It was a really fun time. We got to meet with staffers. About 100 people were there, hosted in Senate Dirksen building. So really great time, and excited that we got to bring the IM mining campaign, which is truly very important to our industry, to the fly-in, and people got exposure to it. Okay. Office visits. So obviously our bread and butter, we do office visits and meeting with legislators and regulators throughout Tuesday, Wednesday this year, and Thursday morning. We have a jam-packed schedule where the 46 women who were there meet in groups of about 3 or 4. We have some bigger groups this year just because of we were lucky and unlucky that reconciliation in the House was happening the week that we were there. So schedules were crazy. I mean, you had offices calling day of, can I please switch this? Can I, so a lot of moving parts, but getting everybody into offices and meeting with people was awesome. And we met with about 140 offices this year, and which is about the same as last year, if I remember correctly. And then also too, there's these opportunities that happen usually on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings where the delegations from, it's usually on the Senate side, they host a morning coffee or basically getting FaceTime with their constituents. And so Montana morning, it happens every Wednesday. I was lucky enough to attend that one last year. And you get to go meet the delegation, say hello, take a picture. And sometimes you will have opportunities. I know in Tuesdays with Tim, he actually sits down with you and you get at least 5 minutes, which we're used to that, right? We're used to having 10, 15 minutes with any of these offices. But if a congressman is willing to give us 5 minutes, we're very lucky and very excited to have that opportunity. And so Tuesdays with Tim Sheehy is the new senator from Montana. Senator? Yes. And then the Battleborn Breakfast. We have a huge group of constituents from Nevada. Obviously, mining is big in Nevada, and so every year we have quite a few women. The bulk of the highest percentage of participants comes from Nevada. This year, I think we had 15 women from Nevada. And so that was a great picture that they got to take with Senator Rosen and Senator Cortez Masto, and just a really lovely morning. Senators Kelly and Gosar, I apologize. He is not a senator, Gosar. He's a congressman. I think that was just a typo on my part, but they are both from Arizona. And so those are opportunities that the participants got to meet with them, whether it was through a constituent coffee or through an office visits. Because sometimes during the office visits, you will have members who will show up. I actually this year went to the meeting with Congressman Amadei. He is my congressman. I'm from Washoe County, and it was real because I don't normally have the time to do these meetings given what I'm working on during the fly-in. But I was really excited because I knew that there were things that we wanted to discuss with him specifically and be strategic about it. But because of reconciliation, he kept calling every 2 minutes, I'm so sorry I can't meet. He's a very big supporter of the Women's Mining Coalition, and usually every year we have an opportunity to get to say hello and sit down. And there's a funny picture from a previous year where I don't know if it's Debbie or someone's in the picture where he's in a couch with his boot up on the table, and it's just a really kind of funny picture, but he really does engage with us, and I really, we really do appreciate that. So great office visits, like we mentioned with the NIOSH topic. These office visits are really important because as you have a meeting on Tuesday morning, it leads into more. You go into an office on Tuesday morning, you then get with your participant and the members, and you start talking and having these conversations. Well, what did you hear? What did you hear? What are these people saying? What are these people saying? And by the time Wednesday afternoon comes around, you're having these really intentional dialogues about these topics, and actually feeling like your progress is being made. And so that's probably the NIOSH experience with Andrea and what was happening was probably my favorite experience from flying this year. Just you could feel progress being made. While we're not at the solution we want right now, I still do feel like there's progress being made. So, okay, on to the next one. Some fun events that happened. We did attend a baseball game. We had a night at the ballpark with the WMC. Did a catering, and what was really funny is that there was a doubleheader because the night before there was a huge thunderstorm, and I thought, oh no, our game's going to get rained out. We're not going to have anything to do. And sure enough, we had great weather, and then we ended up with a doubleheader. We got to have the game that was supposed to be the night before. Got a 2-for-1. So. But what a really fun night, getting to spend time together. Then also too, so I don't really know how to explain this next event. We had an incredible event on at the Capitol. I had planned a Capitol Hill reception through a relationship that I built last year at Fly-In, meetings that I had with Speaker Johnson's office, a guy that works for him, but is not a policy guy. He works with coalitions. And so, he and I got to talking last year, and he said, next year, call me. Let's try and plan something for you guys at the Capitol, like through the Speaker's office and his ceremonial room and all this. I thought, oh, cool, great. Like, I will definitely remember that. And boy, did I. And because the location is beautiful. We're at the Capitol. Those columns are what you see in the pictures of the Capitol, and we're on the balcony that you see in all the pictures. And it was just a really good, it was a really fun night, a really exciting opportunity for us. But what was even more exciting was that reconciliation was happening. The vote, that there was a floor vote happening. And this room was across the hall from the House chamber. And the guy that I know through Speaker Johnson's office, he just kept walking in and out of the House chamber, grabbing congressmen to bring them to the room as they're voting and so we were so lucky. We had Congressman Stauber there. You'll see in these pictures, I tried to get a picture of all the congressmen. I think I'm missing Congressman Gosar, which was, you saw on one of the last slides, but Chairman Westerman from the House Natural Resources Committee came, Congressman Stauber from Minnesota. He's got those major projects up in northwestern Minnesota. He's been, he is a staunch supporter of the mining industry. And so it was really great to have him there. I joke because I don't go back to Texas that often. And I think I've seen Congressman Stauber more than my own parents in the past year, because he's just always at mining events, and he's a huge supporter of the industry. In the lower left-hand corner, you'll see that is Congressman Riley Moore. While he doesn't sit on any of the the mining natural resources committees, and he is a new congressman this year, he is from West Virginia, and he is a coal guy. He actually used to be, he is a miner. He used to work in the coal mines back in West Virginia, he mentioned. And so it was great to have him come and stop by. And then in the picture next to him, that is new Congressman Nick Begich from Alaska. And so having him there as well, these new congressmen to really get involved, and mining is so important to their states. And so we were super lucky to have them come and say hello. And we appreciate the support from our sponsors that helped out FTI, the team is there in the picture. But it was just a really great night. And I think a lot of us are still reeling from it, especially me, because I was just kind of flabbergasted that it even happened. Okay. And then the final day, we're almost done. I know it's taking this presentation is taking a while. On the final day, so 2 important things really happened that were really exciting for the WMC. One, in the morning, myself and members of our leadership team got the opportunity to go meet with the National Energy Dominance Council. This relationship is new to the mining industry, obviously, right? Through the executive order that President Trump created. So the National Energy Dominance Council has been huge supporters of the mining industry. David Copley is an old Newmont guy. He comes from Newmont. And so he understands the needs of the mining industry, and us getting an opportunity to go and talk to him and just have that FaceTime was really important, and the relationship building, being a resource for them, and just a really cool opportunity to go visit the White House. We saw the Tesla, got to take some pictures as well. I will mention that I had to work with Secret Service to find my phone because I left it inside the gates of the White House. So that's where that Secret Service picture comes in. And then another amazing part of the fly-in was the afternoon that ended the fly-in. We had fireside chats with the agencies, Forest Service and the Bureau of Land Management. You'll see Debbie in there with Acting Director John Raby. In the lower right-hand corner, you will see Haley, our president, with Associate Chief Chris French, acting, I believe, but Associate Chief. And then in the pink above that picture, that is Jean Cool. She is the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee staff member. So while she may work under Senator Mike Lee from Utah, she only focuses on natural resources, on Senate Energy and Natural Resources. She used to be with the House Natural Resources Committee under Chairman Westerman, but it was super exciting for her to come and join. She's working on the Mining Regulatory Clarity Act. It's a big thing, a big piece of legislation that she is specifically working on. And so getting the 3 of them to come and have these open dialogues with our members, and I mean, we got about at least 45 minutes with each one of them, and they gave us their time, and it was incredible. One of my favorite parts of the fly-in is really just having those intentional conversations with the people who can affect change in DC. So yeah, what a great way to end the fly-in. So going to the next slide before I start it is actually our fly-in video. I'm going to play our fly-in video. It's about 7 minutes. I apologize for it being so long this year, but I just really love how this video sort of brings the week together and gives you a sense of what sort of went on that we've just discussed.
Talk about critical minerals and rare earths. Hi, everyone. It's Lisa Ross, CFO of Revival Gold. Just want to take a second to thank everyone who came to DC to participate in the annual fly-in. We had an incredible week. There were lots of meetings and network opportunities and lots of time to tell everyone how important mining is to the future of America. Also want to say thanks to all of our sponsors. We would not have had fly-in without you. The fly-in is an incredible experience, and it's one of the reasons why I'm proud to be WMC.
As well, our industry needs powerful, strong voices to lobby on our behalf, and there's probably no better way to do it than with the WMC.
Hello, my name is Karen Courier. I work for the Alaska Miners Association as their Projects and Communications Manager. This was my second WMC annual fly-in, and I am just so proud to be part of the Women's Mining Coalition and have the opportunity to be surrounded by such inspiring women in the mining industry and get to hear from different perspectives and what each of these women do and how we all have the same shared goal of domestic mining in the U.S. and how to safely and responsibly mine in America. I'm already looking forward to next year.
Hi, I'm Brooke Miller-Clarkson from Reno, Nevada. I'm a geologist at SRK Consulting, and I am back home after my first ever WMC fly-in DC. This was an awesome experience, and I thank all our sponsors for making that collaboration possible. I am proud to be WMC.
Hi everyone, this is Jen Robison with Rio Tinto Kennecott. I had a great time in Washington, D.C. last week with all of you talking about responsibly mining in the United States and the need for permitting reform. I'm really proud to be part of the Women's Mining Coalition, and I look forward to working with all of you over the next few years to see what we can get done.
Hi there, I'm Becca from FCI Consulting. I participated in the Women's Mining Coalition 2025 fly-in. FCI was a proud sponsor. We absolutely love to go on the Hill every year to discuss mining issues, and we hope we'll have more of you next year.
Thanks much. So thanks for coming to DC and for everything you do to help us understand what needs to be done so that you can do what you can do.
Thank you. Women's Mining Coalition 2025 was amazing. I'm grateful to have participated. I've been participating since the early 2000s. This one was absolutely the best, hands down, and I am proud to be WMC. Thank you.
We understand the importance of domestic mining and what it can do for our strategic national.
I'm very excited to be heading to the White House now to represent the Women's Mining Coalition as we advocate for more domestic mining in this amazing country.
Suite of executive orders related to declaring a national energy emergency, unleashing American energy, and everything that has happened since day one.
Rather than just kind of that blunt axe of, okay, this definition is now this.
future generations inheriting these resources is dependent on us, you and others, making sure that they're successful. And that's
Hey there, Amber, current Women's Mining Coalition president here to extend a very heartfelt thank you to all of the phenomenal individuals who joined us last week in Washington, D.C., alongside our corporate sponsors. We appreciate your time, input, investment in making such a successful week. We had over 45 participants and over 140 meetings while in D.C., and we really can't wait to see you all in 2026.
And with that, this is not my necessarily last slide, but the last one that I'll be talking on. We really want to say, like mentioned in those videos on the video. Thank you so much to our sponsors. I want to give a huge shout out to MMSA. MMSA has always been a huge supporter of the Women's Mining Coalition, and we genuinely could not do this without that support and collaboration. And we're so excited to go back in 2026. And again, thank you so much for your time. And I just realized what time it was, and I apologize for going way over. But if anyone has any questions, please let me know. But thank you again for everything. So I'll end it there so that we can move on, Kristen.
Great. Thank you, Lyndsey. I did have just a question for you. It sure seems like it was a busy trip with a lot of accomplishments, a lot of meetings. I was just wondering, how do you track the progress that is legislatively made from this fly-in?
I don't know that there's necessarily a way to say that it's from the fly-in, if that makes sense. But when I leave DC, so just to give you some background inside of what my job is, the 51 other weeks of the year, is that when we leave fly-in, I do a lot of follow-up, especially with those sort of offices where we really feel like we made an impact. I will be honest, some offices will go into and they're like, that they're not about the mining life, right? But I will say, compared to last year or previous years, everyone understands the importance of mining, right? Last year we went into, I tried to get meetings with the Oregon delegation and I got turned away, right? And I had no constituents from the state. I was, it was a struggle. This year, that was the easiest state to get meetings with, if I'm being honest, right? So you can feel that change. I don't know that we necessarily have, I can't say that we necessarily can do that KPI. I will say this too. We're advocates of the mining industry. We're not lobbyists, right? So we actually don't touch the legislation, right? We're not going to be like, that's all the legal, for example, we do have women who are part of our organization that are lobbyists, right? So they do that in their day-to-day jobs, but we are there to educate on the industry. And I think I kind of measure our level of success by the conversations that we're still having, if that makes sense. And I mean from offices, and like with the NIOSH, right? We just follow that throughout the year. And if it's still in play in 2026, we will still be advocating and educating people about its importance next year, right? Now, if we're not talking about something, it's either been solved or it's something that has sort of fell off of the radar when it comes to legislation and bills. Like, bills just don't pass, and so those we move past, because that happens all the time, and that may not necessarily be something that we've even advocated for. But I don't know that we necessarily have KPIs that we could point to, but we definitely have. We have been a part of the 7 counties. I'll take that back. There was an amicus brief that was filed. And one of the authors is Andrea Driggs, who is a member of ours. She works with Holland and Hart, partner at Holland and Hart. And that 7 counties Supreme Court case, Debbie, please chime in if you hear me, came back. And that basically changed the NEPA permitting in a really great way for our industry. I won't go into detail about it, but we were a part of that amicus brief. We signed on to that. So we can see where individual things happen, if that makes sense. But there's never really anything that we don't really track, we this is how many pieces of bills. We just don't track all of that information. It's more of really what's happening in real time.
Well, I can jump in, and yes, that was 7 counties was a Supreme Court decision, and we, along with AEMA and NMA and other state mining associations, filed the amicus brief that Lyndsey mentioned. But last session of Congress, the industry enjoyed a great success with passage of a abandoned mine lands Good Samaritan bill. That MMSA was a very strong participant in that. As was AEMA and other organizations. So, it's really, really hard to get a bill across the line and get the president's signature on it. So that was a big celebration and kind of a rare occasion where an industry-sponsored bill, industry-supported bill that we all helped with actually came to pass.
Yeah. Oh, great. Great one, Debbie. Andrea, did you have a question? I saw your hand was raised.
Oh no, I was giving you a round of applause. I thought it was awesome. I do just, if you don't mind, give a shout out to our members that were there, and also MMSA Executive Director Judy Colgan was also part of the coalition this year. So
yes, I love Judy. Judy. So Judy and I actually sit on the Western States Mining Coordination Council. I'll be traveling with her to Montana this year. She has her annual meeting starting Sunday, I think, Sunday evening.
Yeah. She's very busy right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's very busy right now. But Judy is she's Judy, and she's amazing. And I get to collaborate with her outside of MMSA and even outside of WMC, but through this collaboration council that we sit on. And so she's just wonderful. But yeah, and she actually helped with the grant funding and the support that we received from MMSA, and sending me those, Lyndsey, get your stuff in. I just want to make you aware. And so she's adore her, and I was so glad she was able to join us this year. So
yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions for Lyndsey? Well, with that, you're off the hook.
Apologize for going really over.
Oh, no dramas. Many thanks to Lyndsey for her excellent presentation, and thank you to all who attended our webinar. All of our webinars are uploaded to our YouTube channel and can be accessed through the mmsa.net website. The video of this webinar should be on the website within a week. We will also post on our LinkedIn pages when the video and slides are posted to our website. We will go on summer break now for our webinar series and return in September. We will announce the date and topic on LinkedIn and through Eventbrite in August for our next webinar. The MMSA webinars are supported by the MMSA Jackling Foundation. Again, if you are interested in becoming an MMSA member, please be sure to check out our website for information on the application process. The webinar is now ended. Thank you.